Shepard. Our Mara hotline is 866-838-4843. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. Don't forget 718. It's Mondays with Mitch Lyons, Mitch Lyons Wealth, and MitchLyonsWealth.com joins us to talk a little NFL playoffs. Super excited for that. Big night at Little Caesars Arena tonight. It is Sergei Fedorov retirement jersey night. One of his teammates, Darren McCarty, who won 4 Stanley Cups in his NHL career, will join us at 8:35. Always looking forward to talking with D-Mac. 2 best teams in the East are going to clash in that ceremony or after the ceremony. The Red Wings welcoming Carolina. Detroit has won 3 in a row. They're 58 points, tops in the Atlantic Division, while the Canes have won 4 straight to lead the Metro at 59 points. And Fedorov's number 91 jersey, the 8th, will hang from the rafters there. First Russian to ever win the Hart Trophy. Also won a couple of Selkies and won 3 Stanley Cups. So looking forward to that. All right, NFL playoffs yesterday. Bills and Jags traded fourth quarter blows. 4 different lead changes in that fourth quarter alone. Buffalo comes out on top 27-24. Josh Allen throws for 273 yards and a score. He also rushed for 2 more. First road playoff win for the Bills since 1992. They had been 0 for their last 8 in that regard. Buffalo advances to play Denver. That's a rematch of last year's wild card showdown in which Buffalo won. Meanwhile, New England shuts down the Chargers 16-3 for their first playoff win in 7 years to advance. Patriots defense boasted 6 sacks. They limited the Chargers 1 for 10 on third downs and just 207 total yards. New England will host either Houston or Pittsburgh next. Those 2 teams square off tonight. Pittsburgh hasn't won a playoff game in 8 years. C.J. Stroud is 0 for 3 in weather under 30 degrees, and it's supposed to be below freezing in Pittsburgh tonight. We'll get to more about these games coming up here on X's and Bros. We got some wild NFL stats for you that I think you'll be interested in. San Francisco stuns the Eagles in Philly 23-19. Now, remember, there were a lot of people questioning Nick Sirianni and the Eagles because they didn't play their guys or a lot of their guys at the end of the season. And they end up getting a different seed. They get the 3 seed instead of the 2 seed. They get San Francisco instead of Green Bay. I don't know how much that would have mattered with the matchup, but San Francisco's better than Green Bay. Anyway, they get the Niners, and the Niners come in, and Brock Purdy overcomes 2 picks, throws for 262 yards, a couple of scores. Christian McCaffrey was unbelievable. 114 total yards and a couple of touchdowns. Niners will visit Seattle. The Rams will visit Chicago. That's the matchup. Sean McVay has more, for the Rams, has more playoff wins, 9, by the age of 40 before more than anybody else in the history of the National Football League. John Madden had 5. Mike Tomlin had 5. Sean McVay's got 9. Here's the thing. He's 0-2 in his career at Soldier Field, if that matters much to you. I suppose it all depends on the type of team you have going to Chicago. So that's the deal. We mentioned the Pittsburgh matchup. Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day. Which NFL head coaching job is the best head coaching job? Is it the Giants? Is it Atlanta? Is it Baltimore? Or is it Miami? We took those 4. I hope that's okay. Yeah. Those are the 4 we took. Now you can look at some of the other ones, and we only have a chance to give you 4. But we think Miami's a pretty good one, just because of, I guess, primarily the location. I think that's important. Baltimore, you've got a franchise quarterback, so of course you're going to have that in there, and they've been successful there. I've discounted Arizona. I've discounted the Raiders. and I've discounted the Browns. Now, the Browns, of course, you have a franchise player in Myles Garrett. It hasn't helped them so far. So I don't think that's as appealing. The Raiders, what exactly do they have? I mean, they've got some decent defensive pieces, and, of course, Max Crosby. Ashton Genty's not going to make you put them on the list. Arizona's a mess. Absolute mess. So, with your indulgence, I've left it up to those 4 teams. Which NFL head coaching job is the best? That's the Mitch Lyons Well poll question. The Giants gig, Atlanta, Baltimore, or Miami. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. I'll retweet it at Shep Matt, and we will we'll give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. Speaking of Chicago, the Bears beating the Packers over the weekend was one of the more impressive wins. I know how you feel about Ben Johnson. I get it. It is interesting how we have turned. Not. I hope it's not because he went to a division rival. It's all in how somebody acts, and I don't think any of us saw this type of Ben Johnson in Detroit. How would we have felt had he been like this with the Lions? It's a question that's tough to answer because we don't know. But with Chicago, I think it's a turnoff for a lot of people. Not that he gives a damn about what we think now. Why should he? He's the head coach of the Chicago Bears. But after the game, it was a quick handshake with Matt LaFleur. So what? I mean, previous matchups they've had, there are all kinds of quick handshakes between those two anyway. It wasn't a Harbaugh-Schwartz type thing. When Harbaugh brought San Francisco into, Ford Field, and him and Jim patted Jim Schwartz on the back, and then Schwartz turned around and chased after him. So it's not one of those things. But those two have had quick exchanges in the past. All right. It's more in the locker room and the blank the Packers type message he sent to his team. It's no different than probably what you and I have said while the Packers were playing and carving out the hearts of Lions fans everywhere while Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers were at the helm. It's a little different when you've got a coach doing that, right? On camera. Classless? Is that a classless act? Love your thoughts on it, on that Ben Johnson. And then we'll also get into some accolades that the Lions and some of the Lions players have had. So that's a really cool thing, what they experienced, and some of them for the first time. We'll get to all that. Plus, Mitch Lyons joining us at 7:18. We'll talk a lot about the NFL playoffs with him. And again, Darren McCarty, 7:35, to talk about Sergei Fedorov and having number 91 retired from the rafters. That takes place tonight at Little Caesars Arena. Just getting rolling here on a Monday morning on X's and Bros throughout the great state of Michigan, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth and MitchLyonsWealth.com.
Hey guys, Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, creating a solid game plan was crucial for a successful outcome on Sundays. In retirement, the formula to succeed is no different. A game plan to win retirement takes proper preparation and attention to detail, taking into account growth, protection, Social Security, health care, and securing lifetime income. Are you convinced your current plan can get you where you want to be? Or perhaps you don't really have a plan? That's okay. Make this year the year you take action. Put the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth to work for you and let us help construct your retirement of steel. Get our free retirement toolkit that includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides on taxes, Medicare, Social Security, and more. Text STEEL, STEEL, to 844-86-STEEL. That's STEEL to 844-867-8335. Again, STEEL to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. 5-time Grammy nominee Elder Barge and Keith Washington put love in the air. Tickets as low as $50 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Save a good deal more during the Meyer Dollar Deal Sale, January 7th through the 20th. Shop the entire store and choose from hundreds of items, all $1 each. Fill your basket with favorites like Kraft macaroni and cheese, sparkling ice, sparkling water, select varieties of seedless cucumbers, and Meyer facial tissue. The Meyer Dollar Deal Sale. That's the good life, a good deal better. And don't forget to stop by the Meyer Pharmacy for your flu shot. Available today while you shop. Exclusions apply. See Meyer.com for details. Save a good deal more during the Meyer Dollar Deal Sale, January 7th through the 20th. Shop the entire store and choose from hundreds of items, all $1 each. Fill your basket with favorites like Kraft macaroni and cheese, sparkling ice, sparkling water, select varieties of seedless cucumbers, and Meyer facial tissue. The Meyer Dollar Deal Sale. That's the good life, a good deal better. And don't forget to stop by the Meyer Pharmacy for your flu shot. Available today while you shop. Exclusions apply. See Meyer.com for details.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Hey, that's a heck of a win. An incredible toughness, man. I'm going to tell you what. Yeah. This football team is as tough as I've ever seen it, and it's not stopping. We're going to celebrate this. We need everybody getting healthy, getting those treatments. We got a big challenge next week, man. Hey, we're learning something about ourselves every game. We pick each other up along the way. Someone goes down, somebody steps up. Somebody else goes in, they step up, man. A true team and a lot of love for each other, man. Super proud of you guys, man. We knew what was in front of us coming down here. Good football team.
Sean McDermott, head coach, Buffalo Bills. They survive Jacksonville. That was a really good football game. And advanced to play Denver. Denver's just the 4th team ever to be a 1 seed, draw a bye, and be an underdog early on.
Woo!
And against Buffalo. That's right. Josh Allen. How do you feel about Josh Allen?
I love him. I think he's a superhero. I think he is at least the second best quarterback in the NFL. How's that?
Yeah, I think he's fantastic. I know there are a lot of people last year like, how did he win MVP? I mean, Lamar Jackson had a better year than he did the year before, blah, blah, blah.
No, it was long overdue. That would have been Lamar's 3rd before Josh Allen got 1. Give me a break.
Yeah, to me, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me. Matthew Stafford shouldn't win the MVP this year because he's never won one in 17
I know,
years.
but do you get what I'm saying?
And there are more opportunities.
Logically, it doesn't.
But Lamar Jackson did. Look, it's a good debate. Lamar Jackson did a lot of things last year that no quarterback has ever done.
Yes.
So I understood that to a certain extent. What I had a problem with, and again, if Lamar Jackson wins 3 before Josh Allen wins 1, so what? My problem was that people were talking about Josh Allen like he was just given it, that the NFL's golden boy and all that other stuff. Let me give you his statistics in his last 7 playoff games.
Okay.
He has thrown for 2,000 yards. He has 19 total touchdowns and 1 interception. And he's got 404 rushing yards.
The 19-1. Where do I sign? Holy cow.
Exactly. That is getting it done. Unlike
Smartly.
Justin Herbert, who has as many touchdown passes in his playoff career as Jawan Jennings does. They both have 2.
And as many playoff wins as you and I, correct?
Right. So, look, we said this most of the year. The Chargers, in fairness to them, they have done this without a lot. You know, they've missed an awful lot, including their 2 starting tackles. It's a bit of an issue, right? I'm not making excuses by any stretch. You can't do that. It's not necessarily fair. And I'll give you the reason why here in a minute. All right. But you would expect more from what we would consider to be a superstar quarterback than what you've received. I think that's fair to ask. And you have not gotten it. The problem with the Chargers argument, didn't expect to go here this early, but I will since the door is open. The problem with the Chargers argument is that the Niners are killing a narrative. And here's the narrative. Injuries are an excuse. San Francisco's top paid 6 players. Brock Purdy, Bosa, Ayuk, Trent Williams, Fred Warner, George Kittle out for the rest of the year. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say they've had what, 2 of these guys so far?
But Kittle did start the game. He did come back, but he missed games earlier this year.
Yeah.
All those guys, those top 6 guys, top 6 paid players, and usually that's your best players. They combined to miss 60 games this year, including the playoffs. 60. They're going to Seattle. Their season's alive.
And they're going to have a real good shot at beating Seattle. We'll talk about it, but
I mean, think about this. That team has yesterday was playing with their 5th, 6th, and 7th linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a team that now goes to Seattle. And by the way, it's the first time in NFL history that two teams opened this season. San Francisco hosted Seattle, ended the regular season, San Francisco and Seattle, and now meet in the playoffs.
Third time.
First time in history that's ever happened. First game, last game, and then a playoff game between two teams. 17-13, 13-13, and now the divisional round.
Yeah, low-scoring games, which I did see that last night, Shep. That's something to keep an eye on as we get closer to that game. We got a week here, but
yeah, for sure. But that they're destroying a narrative, and the narrative is basically, hey, you know what? Let's use injuries as an excuse. You know, to a certain extent, a couple of years ago, the Lions did the same thing by losing their best defensive player, but that was one guy. I mean, there were other guys that were out, but not as significant as Aiden Hutchinson, of course, who, by the way, over the weekend did a pretty good job on TV.
Yeah, he's a TV star.
Yeah. It was on ESPN. But when you lose these 6 players, Bosa is one of the best defensive ends in football, period. Kittle's arguably the best tight end in football, period. Trent Williams graded out last year as the best left tackle in football. Fred Warner's the best middle linebacker when healthy in football. Now it's Jack Campbell to a certain extent. Brendan Ayuk is an important piece. I don't think he's the best at what he does, but he's still pretty damn good. And Brock Purdy, you know, I was having a debate with somebody about this yesterday.
Top 10?
How do you argue that?
Yeah, I mean, he
threw 2 picks yesterday, but he also threw a couple of touchdown passes too. So you give him credit for that, I would hope. Mm-hmm. Helps to have, you know, Christian McCaffrey, but you're missing key pieces here. We're talking about massive contributions from these types of players. And that's why I said, was it 4 or 5 weeks ago? I said, when we're talking about coaches of the year, probably 4 weeks ago, I said, where's Kyle Shanahan in this whole thing?
Yeah, that was about a month ago, and you were dead on. Yep.
So it's not, you know, I get Liam Cohen's done a really good job. Don't get me wrong. Mike Vrabel, who I picked before the season, has done a really good job. I understand that. Ben Johnson's done a hell of a job. Now, there are some things about the Bears. In the end, it's about winning. So how much does it really matter?
Well, also what's interesting is all those votes are in now because it's a regular season award. Yeah, that ballot is sent in before the playoffs, right?
Sure. But the thing about it is, you know, the people want to take things away from the Bears because they've had comeback wins, which I think is bullcrap.
Which is not fair.
It's not fair. There's a reason you play as long as you do. There's a reason you play 4 quarters. The reason you play those minutes of every single quarter. What is it? Because the game's still available. It's still around. Whether you win it in the first quarter, which it rarely happens, or you're winning at the end of the fourth. It's not basketball. Okay? You're not supposed to be able to stage that comeback from, 30 points down like some teams have done this year. So you don't do that. I don't care that Caleb Williams and company have comeback wins. Are you going to make excuses and try and defend a guy because, oh, I'm sorry, we won, but we didn't win it the way you wanted us to? I've always found it fascinating when teams blow other teams out early. They're like, man, they haven't really been tested. When teams get tested and come back and win, you're playing from behind a lot.
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, and it gets old quick. How about that?
Really quick. You're right about that. All right, when we come back, it never gets old when you have all pros. The Lions have 4 of them. We'll talk about that on the other side, plus some of your texts at Sports Radio 21,000 and the Meyer hotline at 866-838-4843. Mitch Lyons joins us 7:18 to talk NFL playoffs. Darren McCarty at 8:35 on Sergei Fedorov's Jersey Retirement Night. Stay with us.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Save a good deal more during the Meyer Dollar Deal Sale, January 7th through the 20th. Shop the entire store and choose from hundreds of items, all $1 each. Fill your basket with favorites like Kraft macaroni and cheese, sparkling ice sparkling water, select varieties of seedless cucumbers, and Meyer facial tissue. The Meyer Dollar Deal Sale. That's the good life, a good deal better. And don't forget to stop by the Meyer Pharmacy for your flu shot. Available today while you shop. Exclusions apply. See Meyer.com for details.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise, therapy, and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
when me and Dan first started, we said we're going to take the path of draft, develop, and sign our own. And I do think that has worked so far in terms of getting us to this point. Those guys are priorities because they're really good players. They're really good players. They're great in the locker room. They represent everything that we're about. So I would say that those are all priorities. We'll just we don't have a decision on timeline yet, but yeah, definitely both priorities.
Brad Holmes at his press conference earlier, or actually last week, talking about where they're going and how they felt like that was the right route, drafting and developing. Welcome back, X's and BrO's, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9, throughout the great state of Michigan. Just a reminder that the Red Wings play tonight. Take on Carolina, which is not going to be easy. I mean, Carolina's a really good hockey team. Of course, the Wings and company in the division have been really good too. Look at what has happened recently with the Atlantic Division, in case you were wondering. The last 10 games in the Atlantic Division, the Lightning have gone 9-1. The Maple Leafs have gone 7-1-2. And they're in 5th place. The Red Wings, the Red Wings have gone 7-2-1. The Sabres, who are in 4th place, have won 9 of 10. And Montreal are unbeaten in 8 of 10, 6-2-2. That's the division. That's how tough it is. That's why Tampa's won 9 in a row. I don't know if people realize that. They're such a good hockey team. But Detroit's got 27 wins. That's second most in the East, first in the division. 15 home knockouts, second most in the East, first in the division. The lead is just 1. Does it excite you? Does it concern you? It puts a ton of pressure on every single faceoff, every single night.
I think it's super exciting, and it's incredible for the Wings to have this sort of juice in mid-January.
I like
if you know
that.
what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
This is
like
awesome.
that.
I mean, this is what Steve Yzerman has been working towards for years. You can say what you want about the guy. You can disagree or agree with his path.
Yeah.
But, I mean, here we go. This is it, right?
Well,
this is the team he's wanted for years.
Yeah. Well, yes. And
it would appear so.
He said it's going to be a long rebuilds in hockey. Ken Holland said it when everybody was clamoring. I was hosting shows at the time. When everyone was clamoring, you know what? I'm tired of making the playoffs 25 straight years. I want a Stanley Cup. Blow it up.
Yeah.
And start all over. It's so easy.
Easy to say that.
For fans and members of the media to say that. Because you know what? We don't have to put in the work. We don't have to do all the scouting. We don't have to do all the analyzing of which players to draft and which players to try and bring in on a trade or on a free agent and all that other stuff. That is the easiest thing. Blow it up and start all over. One of my most despicable phrases in sports because we don't even think about it.
And also to a certain extent.
You blew it up, and then what happened? It took you 9 years. It's been 9 years since you made the playoffs. There's no guarantee you're making the playoffs right now. I feel pretty good about it. I think people who are Red Wing fans should feel really good about it. You're 48 games deep, and you feel pretty damn good. You're almost, we're talking about game number 49 tonight, and you're
just
atop the
over
Atlantic
halfway.
Division.
Yeah.
And the Atlantic Division, as I said before the season began, I said this is the hardest division in hockey, and it is.
And that's why it's so unpredictable, and you're just over halfway in the season. So don't get all fat and happy now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's getting fat and happy because the last 2 years they've been pretty good. Right around this time of the season before fading. So once bitten, twice shy, right? I'm just saying that's a hell of a 10 days, the last 10 games, I should say, in which these teams have played. And look at how good they've become. All right, let me shift gears here and get back to why we played the Brad Holmes soundbite. And that is because of what this team has done and what their vision is. Well, their vision, to a certain extent, has come to fruition. And that is the fact that this team has 4 All-Pros. And there's something to be said for that. All right. You get Penei Sewell, who graded out as the number 1 tackle. You get Jack Campbell, who was second in all of football in tackles with 176.
Awesome year.
First time that a Lions linebacker has been named first team All-Pro since Chris Spielman, and just the 3rd Lions linebacker to do that. Besides Chris Spielman, the other was the great Joe Schmidt.
That's
Joe
some
Schmidt's
damn good company, Jack.
Joe Schmidt's arguably the greatest defensive player in Lions history. Arguably, Dick Night Train Lane is involved in that, of course. But that is saying something. All right. So Jack Campbell, who we have lauded, who we loved coming out of Iowa, who many people didn't want as a Lion. Why are they drafting him? He's big, he's strong, he moves, he's tough. That's all he wants to do. All he wants to do is play football.
You know what?
What else do you do for what do you enjoy doing most? Jack, do you like playing video games? Is what they asked him earlier. He's like, not really.
No,
I like playing football. That's what I like doing. Those are the types of guys you definitely want on your team. He's 25 years old, a career high in sacks, a career high in forced fumbles, a career high in tackles. Those are the types of guys you want leading your defense. It's why he's going to be a captain next year. It's why he wore the green dot this year. Should have been a captain this year, right? Not that that matters all that much, but he gained 50 first-team votes and a total of 89 points. Jordan Brooks of Miami, who had 183 tackles, the other linebacker who got something close to that.
If I can quickly just express, Shep, that X's and Bros, I don't want to, break my arm patting us on the back here. You would be hard-pressed to find a show that's been a bigger fan of Jack Campbell for the last 2 years, not just this year. The last 2 years. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. He's the guy that you want leading your defense. I'm not going to sit here and compare him to Bobby Wagner or compare him to Fred Warner. That's not fair.
But that stuff doesn't matter.
I really like Mike Milano of Buffalo too. But this dude is the type of guy you want leading your team. And that's the bottom line. All right. In a leadership position, which is what it is. It's a leadership position, a middle linebacker. He's the guy. So Penei Sewell, 3rd straight first-team All-Pro. and he supposedly had a quote-unquote down year, everybody. That's what people were talking about. Oh, my gosh, Micah Parsons. Did you see what Micah Parsons did against him? Yeah, I remember the play. The play. Anybody remember what Penei Sewell did to him? Any of the other plays? Probably not. Then you got wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's on a second team. You get that, right? I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Well, it's a richer
you got
position.
Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua is the best wide receiver in football.
It's a richer
when
position.
You see Jackson Smith and Jigba doing what he did, and you see Jamar Chase, you could understand why Amon-Ra St. Brown would be second team. I have no problem with that. All right? And then you've got Aiden Hutchinson. And Aiden Hutchinson led the league in pressures. I know, Pro Football Focus. You and I are there together. Totally understand it. That stuff gets really old. But 14 and a half sacks, not bad. Okay? So those are your All-Pros. Here's the one that everybody's talking about. It's the one who wasn't named. Helps you in your fantasy league. You love him very much. I get it. Jahmyr Gibbs.
No!
There was a point earlier this year where someone who has absolutely no context of history whatsoever said he's better than Barry Sanders. No context. Barry Sanders, 10 straight Pro Bowls. 10. Only played 10 years.
Oh, Shep, it wasn't just somebody. It was,
Well, I don't know who it
There were
was. I'm
plenty
just
of
saying there are people
discussions.
who brought that up
Yes.
on social media. Okay?
Irresponsibly,
It's
yeah.
irresponsible. It's moronic. It is hyperbolic. It is flat out stupidity. It's not even close. Okay. And unfortunately, when you bring these types of things up, you have to, it sounds like you're downgrading one guy, and I don't mean to sound like that. But I remember saying at the time, as much as I like him, and I appreciate him like nobody's business, I think he's a fantastic player. I do. I would want him in my backfield. I don't think he's the best running back in football, but I do like him a lot. It's an area you don't have to worry about. It's one of the biggest compliments you can give any player and any athlete at any sport. We're good there. All right. Thank you, Brad Holmes. We're good. All right. I'm not talking about the defensive end opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I'm talking about running back. We're good. Move on. Find another position. Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy and should be the guy. However, Bijan Robinson, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook, who I said a few weeks ago doesn't get nearly enough love. He's a hell of a player. Jonathan Taylor, all more impactful. All of them more impactful. Some would argue Derrick Henry. I don't know if I'd go quite that far. But I personally think Bijan Robinson's the best running back in football. And Christian McCaffrey is right in there in that conversation. McCaffrey is, I would say, the best receiving running back I've ever seen. Marshall Faulk is right there, of course. I think McCaffrey is the best as a receiver for a running back, the best I have ever seen. And he's not a bad running back in general either, is he? Watch the way he hits the hole. Watch the way he spins through the hole. He can go tackle to tackle and go outside as well. He's a phenomenal player. But I would say Bijan Robinson. But that is the big problem that people have. That Gibbs, who finished 5th in yards from scrimmage, 1,839 total yards, 2nd in touchdowns. Okay, McCaffrey was 2nd behind Robinson in those categories. It's hard. That tells you that there's quite a bit of talent there. That's the one that people have a serious issue with. But when you hear about Brad Holmes, and this is not, by the way, one of those situations with Brad Holmes where you go, okay, because you said draft and develop, and because you're responsible for drafting those 4 all-pro players, okay, they're not Pro Bowlers, they're all-pro. That's a big difference. That's better. You want that instead of being a Pro Bowler. Then it tells you something, doesn't it? Yes. It doesn't excuse some of the other issues they've had in drafting and trying to develop those who have failed. Enos Rakestraw, for example. Terrion Arnold, for example, who I was wrong on. And certain other players. Okay? I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just saying those are those types of situations, okay, where this team has had success, as long as we understand they've also had plenty of failures as well. Let me get to some texts here real quick. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000, from Freddie, our friend Freddie the Pizza Man. Never hated Ben Johnson for leaving like most Lion slappies who the Lions say do nothing wrong. He did what was good for him and his family. Lions hypocrites would love that, and Ben here, they would be lying if they didn't say that. That being said, that's on Ben Johnson. What he does most likely will bite him doing that against Green Bay. But if he wins the Super Bowl before Detroit gets there and wins it, what he says won't matter. No, I don't disagree with that. They're not going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think Chicago's winning the Super Bowl. That's for sure.
No.
But I mean, Caleb Williams is, credit where credit is due, bringing some guys, but he's 58% completion percentage. Maybe it's a number that I should not even pay attention to.
They've had a crap ton of comebacks.
Well, that's okay.
In the fourth quarter, second half, fine. I'm
he's playing unbelievable in the fourth quarter.
Yes,
okay.
He is.
You wonder why they can't get it done prior to that, and you wonder when that well will dry up.
And
but
it's okay
as
to
of right
ask that
now, if I'm
question.
Chicago, I don't care. I really don't. I mean, I'm a win away from getting from the NFC Championship game. I think that the whole thing that we're talking about regarding the Packers, in case you missed it, he was in the locker room after he says, F the Packers. I don't have any issue with coaches or players involved in a rivalry not liking the other team. That's great. Okay. I mean, we don't. People at Ohio State hate Michigan. People in Michigan hate Ohio State. People in Michigan State hate Michigan. People in Michigan hate Michigan State. You want that emotion. You want that fervor. I'm fine with that. Him saying that in the locker room is not necessarily the greatest look for a head coach, is it? Can it come back and bite him? Are guys in Green Bay saying, you know what, we'll show him next year? I don't know. It seemed like that sort of worked for Chicago. Caleb Williams was asked afterwards. He's like, yeah, we heard that Green Bay wanted us. Well, guess what? They got us. And we're moving on. It's a good line by Caleb Williams. Him and Colston Loveland and all the rest of the Bears, they were just better down the stretch. I don't know how you blow the lead that Green Bay did, but they did. Okay. The question is, do you have to act like you've been there before, which Ben Johnson is not acting like, or do you let the emotion take over? He let the emotion take over. And by the way, Ben Johnson was never like this in Detroit. Maybe it's different when you become a head coach. Maybe he always was like this, just suppressed it because it wasn't his team. I don't know. I do know that again, not that he should care. I don't think that endears him to Lions fans all that much. Now, he's not saying it about that, so who cares? Another text. It was a conversation on radio at the time. He's being interviewed. Imagine if Bob Quinn hired Mike Vrabel, Texans DC, special teams at the time. We could have been having that discussion today. Well, look, I'm a huge Mike Vrabel fan. I think he's a hell of a football coach. Which, by the way, I didn't have a problem with him running down the sideline in last week's or 2 weeks ago in that game saying F them. But I got a problem with Ben Johnson saying it in front of cameras in the locker room to his team about one specific team. Why should that be? Why? Because I happen to like Mike Vrabel and Ben Johnson irritates me a little bit more. How hypocritical is that? Not necessarily fair. Shep Quinn did draft pretty decent, like Decker and Ragnow and Jonas Jackson, brought in special team star. Also had his disaster in free agent signings too. Yeah. I'll take Taylor Decker. I'll take Frank Ragnow. Absolutely. Jonah Jackson, didn't stay here real long. Rams got rid of him right away, but he's helped Chicago. In the 90s, Lions All-Pros, Barry, Herman, Lomas, Spielman. How did Glover never get one? Because there were some really good centers at the time, right? Pouncey, for example. Shepard took Stevie 14 years before he won a cup after he was drafted. Imagine that for Cade and some of the Alliance players or some of the Tigers playing and waiting 14 years before they were able to get on a team like that. Shep Gibbs was really good against the terrible Giants and Miami, and so MIA after that. I had a couple of good games. It's not just rushing. It's his total game, I think, is something that we need to pay attention to with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he's a hell of a player. Like I said, I just think other guys had some better years. When we come back, some incredible NFL playoff numbers. We'll get to that. Plus, Mitch Lyons at 7:18 here on X's and Bros.
Hey guys, Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, creating a solid game plan was crucial for a successful outcome on Sundays. In retirement, the formula to succeed is no different. A game plan to win retirement takes proper preparation and attention to detail, taking into account growth, protection, Social Security, healthcare, and securing lifetime income. Are you convinced your current plan can get you where you want to be? Or perhaps you don't really have a plan? That's okay. Make this year the year you take action. Put the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth to work for you and let us help construct your retirement of steel. Get our free retirement toolkit that includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides on taxes, Medicare, Social Security, and more. Text STEEL, STEEL, to 844-86-STEEL. That's STEEL to 844-867-8335. Again, STEEL to 844-867-8335. or go to MitchLionsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
From Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Muskegon, Petoskey, Charlevoix, Traverse City, Cadillac, Lansing, and beyond, you are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. Five-time Grammy nominee El DeBarge and Keith Washington put love in the air. Tickets as low as $50 and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Second hour of the program. Glad you're with us. Here on X's and Bros. Throughout the state of Michigan, it'll be Mondays with Mitch at 7:18. Mitch Lyons will join us. Super excited for that. We've got some insane college football playoff semifinal numbers. That's coming up here on X's and Bros, and some crazy NFL playoff numbers too. In case you missed it yesterday regarding the playoffs, Bills beat the Jags. Josh Allen throws for 273. The scorer ran for a couple more. They get Denver in a rematch of last year's playoff matchup. New England shuts down the Chargers 16-3, their first playoff win in 7 years. They advance. They're going to host either Houston or Pittsburgh, who square off tonight. San Francisco stuns the Eagles 23-19. Christian McCaffrey had a couple of touchdowns. They're going to visit Seattle next. McCaffrey now with 10 playoff touchdowns in his San Francisco career. That's tied for most all time. I know. Stuns me. He's tried Ricky Waters for second most. I said most. Second most playoff touchdowns in 49ers history. That's still impressive, considering he started his career in Carolina. Again, no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa, no George Kittle, no Michael Williams, no Ricky Pearsall, no Brandon Ayuk. Fifth and sixth string linebackers, and yet they beat the Eagles. They just keep finding a way. You and I, not as much you, more me, sitting there complaining about injuries for the Lions when they take on the Eagles, or injuries when they play Minnesota.
Well, that's because that's what happens when you lose games, right? When you lose games, you point right to the injuries. When you win, you talk about next man up.
Right. That's exactly what you do. Tonight, it's the Steelers hosting Houston. The Steelers, during their 6-game, 8-year playoff win drought. You ready?
Oh, boy.
They've been outscored 73-0 in the first quarters. Their defense has surrendered 38 points per game. Opposing quarterbacks have thrown 15 touchdowns and 1 interception. And they've trailed in each game by at least 21 points. That's what's happened to Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Over the 8-year playoff drought. Those are startling numbers, are they not?
Mm-hmm.
Here's our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day. Which NFL head coaching gig is the best? Is it the Giants? Is it Atlanta, Baltimore, or Miami? Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. I've also retweeted it at Shep Matt, and we will give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow. By the way, we were talking about just before the break, the Lions and their all-pro selections, 4 of them, 2 first-teamers, Jack Campbell, Penei Sewell, 2 second-teamers, Aiden Hutchinson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Just so you know about Sewell, even though he had the worst year of his career, air quotes, he has been named first-team all-pro 3 times before he's 26 years old. Sewell has done that the same as Anthony Munoz.
Yes, I'm glad you're bringing this up.
And Anthony Munoz did it in his first 4 years in the league. Sewell did it in his first 5 years in the league. Munoz ended up being a first-team All-Pro 9 times. That's second most in NFL history. I'm not saying Penei Sewell is Anthony Munoz.
No, but the trajectory is there, right?
Yeah.
It's fair to believe that he could be.
And here's the thing that happens, and it doesn't happen all the time. I'm not saying everybody who was, in this case, a 9-time first-team All-Pro. You gain reputations, and that's what his reputation is. Penei Sewell's reputation, but the numbers associated with him also bear it out. He is the best tackle in football. Trent Williams held that mantle for an extended period of time. Others have done the same. I don't care if it's Jonathan Ogden, Anthony Munoz, you name it, Jackie Slater, all these guys.
Right.
had a reputation as the best at what they did. It was hard to get people off that spot. It's hard to get people off the spot with Penei Sewell. Not that they should, because his numbers prove that he still is. But to put it in context, he's not even 26 yet. He's been a three-time first-team All-Pro. And if you want a comp, even though he was a left tackle and Sewell's a right tackle, if you want a comp, it is not too dissimilar from what Anthony Munoz has done. So very well earned. That's pretty cool. Let me give you some quick numbers because, we haven't talked since, they played the college football semifinals. We did talk, obviously, about Miami's win. But after that, Indiana won. They didn't just win. They beat the living hell out of Oregon. Fernando Mendoza, I'm not going to lie. I mean, when you look at him, not just because you hear him talk, let's get past that. Can we please? He sounds dorky, so what? There has been one 16-0 team in college football history. Do you know what team that is?
No.
Yale, 1894.
Okay. There you go.
So that ought to tell you something right there. All right. It wasn't too long ago that, in fact, the middle of October, 3 years ago, 2022 is when it was. 2022. Indiana became the first college football program in Division I to reach 700 all-time losses. And now they're going to play for a national championship. How crazy of a statistic is that?
Yeah, that's bananas.
So
and it says so much about Curt Cignetti and also the players. I think the coaches get a lot of credit, and rightfully so, in this era of college football. But the players are working their asses off too. So, yeah, hats off to Indiana.
They have Alabama and Oregon were considered, top 10 teams, and rightfully so. Just because Indiana flooded Alabama and Oregon doesn't mean that those two teams weren't any good. It just meant Indiana was that good.
Yes.
They outscored them 94-25. But Indiana now has, this according to ESPN, they have a plus 473 point differential this season. Plus 473. That is tied.
I can't even wrap my mind around
the 2019 Clemson team for the highest of any title game participant in the college football era.
2019 Clemson, you said?
2019 Clemson.
So that was Trevor Lawrence and
Travis Etienne.
Yeah, and T. Higgins, right? No?
Yeah, I don't.
Whatever. The point is, they had some
NFL
fellas on that team, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and obviously Indiana does too. Mendoza in the red zone over the last 2 seasons, 37 touchdowns, no interceptions, 8 rushing touchdowns. Last 2 years in the red zone, that's what he's got. 37 passing TDs, 8 rushing TDs, no interceptions. We'll talk more about that and then some with our friend Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth. He's joining us on Mondays with Mitch when we come back.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Huge here for Van Andel Institute Purple Community. Now, they're a grassroots fundraising network powered by the volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve health now and in the future. Learn more at purplecommunity.org.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Save a good deal more during the Meyer Dollar Deal Sale, January 7th through the 20th. Shop the entire store and choose from hundreds of items, all $1 each. Fill your basket with favorites like Kraft macaroni and cheese, sparkling ice, sparkling water, select varieties of seedless cucumbers, and Meyer facial tissue. The Meyer Dollar Deal Sale. That's the good life, a good deal better. And don't forget to stop by the Meyer Pharmacy for your flu shot. Available today while you shop. Exclusions apply. See Meyer.com for details.
You are listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network, but you don't need to be in Michigan to tune us in. Search XB Mornings on X or X's and Bros on YouTube.
18 after the hour on a Monday. Every Monday, 7:18, we welcome in our friend Mitch Lyons, who played 7 years in the National Football League as a tight end, played for Pittsburgh, played for Atlanta, also played at Michigan State, and is in northern Michigan on this day because he's there supporting his beautiful daughter, Grace Lyons, who plays for Ferris State basketball, whose team is 11-3, won 4 in a row, and she's a major contributor. And he joins us here on X's and Bros. Happy New Year to you, my friend. How are you?
Happy New Year, Shep. Boy, can we get more wild than that weekend? That's a wild card weekend.
That was some kind of wild card weekend. Hey, congrats to your daughter and the Lady Bulldogs so far. Off to a hell of a season.
Yeah,
right?
we had a trip way up to the tip of Michigan, Houghton, Michigan on Saturday, and now we're in Marquette. I got a ball game tonight, so yeah, annual trip up north.
Good for them and good for you guys. They're looking for a 5th straight win, so all the best to Grace and the Lady Bulldogs. First, before we get to what just took place, I wanted to know: when you played, were you in tune with what your general managers would tell the media at the end of a season? You know, the encompassing of 1 year and what that team needed moving forward. How much attention did you pay to that?
I think you do. I mean, you know, you certainly back then you read the papers, you didn't look at your phone, but you know, you definitely wanted to know kind of what the vibe was and maybe what the opinion of the season or where they felt they needed to improve, and you hoped it wasn't your position, right? So, yeah, you tune in for sure. I mean, it's the state of your team going forward. You want to know kind of what they're thinking and what the offseason might hold.
With that said, Brad Holmes had a long presser. What was your take on what he had to tell the media and fans?
Well, I mean, I can appreciate the fact you gave yourself a failing grade. Now, okay, that's great. That's just words. Now, what are we going to do to, you know, rectify the situation? And the situation was, you know, in my opinion, they just didn't have depth in the trenches and do enough there to, you know, obviously they got hurt, but again, injuries are part of the game. You got to have some guys that can step up. And I know I heard you earlier talking about the Niners. They put that myth to rest and how they've overcome. So we need to get a little deeper in the trenches and get some high level players to protect Jared Goff and certainly get to the other team's passer.
Of all the openings that are available in the National Football League right now, our Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question of the day is, which is the best head coaching job available? The Giants, your Falcons, Baltimore, or Miami? I didn't include certain teams, Cleveland and the Raiders for a reason. What do you think is the best and why?
Well, I think if I'm going to hitch my wagon to a team, you've got to have the quarterback, right? Everybody knows that. That's the most important position. And you've got a pretty good one in Baltimore on a team that was, you know, they were the Super Bowl favorite going into the season. So you've got an MVP quarterback there. If you want to maybe go for, you know, the best shot next year, I would say maybe that's the spot. If you want to look longer term, and I know there's not a lot of long term in the NFL anymore, but I love Jackson Dart. I think he brings a lot to the table. I think, you know, when Cam Scataba was healthy, those two were quite a dynamic duo. You know, but I think either one of those would probably be the one I would look at. You know, Las Vegas, I know it's a dumpster fire, but you do have the number 1 overall pick. If you like Mendoza, it's not a bad place, not a bad cornerstone, or the kid out of Oregon, either one. But you know, if you're in love with either one of those, then you can go get them.
Speaking of Fernando Mendoza, he and Indiana will play for a national championship on Thursday against Miami. In the last 2 seasons, in the red zone, he has thrown for 37 scores, rushed for 8 more, and not thrown an interception. What's your take on the college football playoff national title game?
That's superhero level there. That's an insane stat and pretty impressive. You know, and that doesn't happen by accident. So that's what I'm saying. He's a pretty sure thing in my mind, and not only from a talent standpoint, but just what he brings to the table, leadership. And man, you know, he's the kind of kid you want to be the face of your team and lead your troops into battle. And he paints, you know, he gets it done. He paints every corner of the picture and can certainly, you know, compete at the highest level and do it with calm and a demeanor that I think guys gravitate to and want to follow.
It's Mondays with Mitch Lyons from Mitch Lyons Wealth and MitchLyonsWealth.com joining us. Call him today, 866-85-STEEL. Pick up his book, retirement of steel. It's something that's really important, folks. I mean, you can never wait too long or start too early, I should say, in getting ready for your retirement. Believe me, it goes by quickly. And he's also a featured speaker in the film called Retirement Deception, a film protecting people from the deceptions of retirement planning. Check it out today on his website, MitchLionsWealth.com. You mentioned the NFL. The playoffs, I thought were, look, even the low-scoring games, New England and the Chargers, for the most part, I thought were really entertaining. What was your biggest takeaway from the National Football League's divisional series games or wild card series games?
I mean, it's about as good a weekend as I can remember in the first round. I mean, every game was just back and forth, some wild fourth quarters. I was really entertained. I had a lot of time to kill up here in the Great White North, so I watched a lot of football, and I wasn't left wanting. I mean, the Patriots Chargers could have been a little more exciting, I guess, but even that was just it's playoff football, right? It's tough, it's physical. And with Vrabel being a former teammate of mine, it's always fun to see him succeed. But man, those NFC games were just a joy to watch, and I hope we can get similar this week, and I think we will. I like the Seahawks over the Niners, but the Bears, I keep saying, man, they're doing it with smoke and mirrors, but you can only do a smoke and mirrors so long before you realize that, hey, maybe we're that good. So I think they believe in themselves, and that's going to be an interesting one against the Rams at Soldier Field again.
Hey, I love talking sports with you, not just football. So I want your take on what's going on with the Tigers. How do you view their arbitration battle with Tarek Skubal right now?
Oh man, that's what I don't fully understand, the whole baseball thing. How a guy can't, I don't fully understand. The team rights for so long and all that. But in my opinion, looking at it from the outside in, I mean, that offer to me seems like a slap in the face to Tarek Skubal. Based on what he's accomplished, what he has done, and the fact that if you're really trying to sign him to a longer term deal, and that's what you're coming at him with, an arbitration, I just felt like that wasn't a good look. And I know it's a lot of money, but man, guys in his caliber are making well north of that, and I would imagine he's probably pretty irate at their offer.
Do you think other players, not just around the organization, but around the league, take notice of that? And how do you think they react to something like that? I mean, is that what professional athletes do?
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, it sends a message. It's like, geez, man, if they're not going to take care of this guy, I mean, what's going on, right? I mean, it does make you raise an eyebrow and say, geez, if this guy's not important enough to pay, then who the heck is? So, it's I don't know. I hope it works out. I mean, I'd love to see him, stay in a Tiger uniform. In my opinion, it's probably not looking real good at this point long term, but I guess make hay with what we can get from him this season and see where the chips will lie.
As a Michigander, I think you can appreciate this. Sergei Fedorov's number 91 gets retired tonight. Among the best hockey players you've ever seen, do you think? Fedorov?
Oh man, yes, and I mean those teams were so fun to watch, and obviously he was a big part of it. And I wish I could be down there for that one, because that'll be a nice presentation and celebration. But yeah, I mean he was one of the elite performers, and just so talented and just so fast and fun to watch, and just part of great teams, which made it even more special.
Yeah, the dual threat. We're going to talk with Darren McCarty at 8:35 about Sergei Fedorov and number 91 going to the rafters tonight. All the best to your wonderful daughter, Grace, and the basketball team tonight. We'll talk soon, my friend. Have a great week, and be careful on your way back from up north.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Take care. See you.
All right, you bet. That's Mitch Lyons joining us from the Great White North, the UP, as his daughter gets ready to play Northern Michigan. Her team has won 4 in a row, and he joins us every Monday. 7:18 Mondays with Mitch Lyons, Mitch Lyons Wealth, and MitchLionsWealth.com. When we come back, speaking of the Tarek Skubal situation, you try to make a case for both sides. Can you do that? You sure can for Skubal's side. What about the Tiger side? That plus some eye-popping numbers from the NFL after this.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
The Pistons unfortunately sold one on Saturday night, with the Clippers winning by 6 points at LCA after outscoring the Pistons by 14 in the fourth quarter in their home barn. Kawhi Leonard led all scorers with a casual 26 points, while the undermanned Pistons were led by Duncan Robinson's 20, as Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren watched from the bench. They've got their eyes on the prize, no doubt, as they're still 3.5 games above the Eastern Conference. All-star voting results keep coming in, but it looks like Cade is a shoo-in, and Duren is right on the fringe. We'll keep you posted. The Pistons are off until Thursday, when they'll host the Phoenix Suns. My personal message to fans, a 28-10 record at this point is nothing to sneeze at. Let's not get carried away after a loss.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at FreddieThePizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit FreddieThePizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI, Together, we can make a difference.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to Shep. Don't forget the huge show later today at 3 on the Michigan Sports Network.
All right, back with you here on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. The Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. You can always text us, Sports Radio 21,000. This hour of X's and Bros proudly brought to you by Meyer, 35 after the hour. Look, I get why everybody thinks that Tarek Skubel's in the right here. I've made the argument too. Tarek Skubel in his camp going for $32 million in arbitration, which would be a record. That's part of it. Okay. I mean, Scott Boras was the representation for Juan Soto when he set the record for $31 million. And the Tigers countered with $19 million. You and I can't understand that. As I've said before, all Scott Boras has to do is go in and to the arbitrators and say, Jack Flaherty. That's all he's got to say. Jack Flaherty's getting paid $25 million. You really think Jack Flaherty is worth more than Tarek Skubel, who's won back-to-back Cy Youngs? It's crazy. You use $15 million to sign a guy like Alex Cobb, who didn't pitch at all for you. You think that's money well spent? Does this team really know what it's doing? You know, I mean, if you wanted to go that route, you could look at it and say, Tarek Skubel is not just the best pitcher in baseball, definitely the best left-handed pitcher in baseball, but he's also a guy who, when you look at it overall and what he means to your team, you just used $22 million to sign Gleyber Torres, who is a 2.9 WAR player. Okay. That oftentimes is the deal. It's you look at WAR. Tarek Skubel is 6.6. That's a massive difference, right? You and I, we don't have to be arbitrators to figure this stuff out. You and I can understand certain logic. Okay. So that's part of it. Here's the thing we have to remember. And I'm not trying to make excuses for the organization whatsoever. You know that. All right. You know, I've already gone out and I've already spoken my mind about this and how I think it's kind of ridiculous that, you know, these figures are so out of whack. What you do have to understand, or what we have to understand, is that Skubel, in his years of service, of where he's at, all right, the $19 million falls in line with what has happened with players with that experience in the past. Okay. The comparison is David Price in 2015 because he's a pitcher. All right. So if the Tigers, and ironically enough, it was with Detroit. So if the Tigers win this arbitration case, I'd be stunned if they do. But if they win this arbitration case at $19 million, that will be $750,000 less than what David Price was granted to Detroit back in 2015. Which to me, you know, doesn't seem to make much sense considering Price had won a Cy Young once and he finished second that year. All right. I don't want to get into the whole, hey, you know, here's with these two guys in head to head. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. All right. Price threw a lot more innings. I get it. Skubel doesn't. It's a different time. All right. The injuries, these are the things that are going to have to happen. This is the hard part about arbitration. As long as you understand the business side of it. The Tigers case will be, look, you don't throw that many innings. They might be reaching here, but 196, I'm rounding up because it's 195 and 2/3. 196 innings isn't all that great. Not many guys throw 200 innings anymore. That's what Skubel could come back and say. Skubel's camp could come back and say, wait a minute now. First of all, you're the one controlling him. You're the one suggesting how long he should throw. All right. That's the way it is. Number two, there's only 3 guys in all of baseball who threw 200 innings this past year. my client was top 5 in innings pitched. The 3 guys who threw, Logan Webb, Garrett Crochet, Christopher Sanchez. They all threw 200 innings or more. The highest thrown innings of pitched is Logan Webb at 207. You want to go back to the David Price days when David Price threw a lot of innings, credit where credit is due. Clayton Kershaw led that year with 232. So that's part of it. That's something that I'm sure they would bring up. Tigers would counteract with that type of argument. Well, Skubal has had 2 types of arm surgeries, or 2 arm surgeries. One in the flexor tendon, okay, and one Tommy John. The Tigers come back, hasn't prevented you from using him more than any of your starting pitchers over the last 2 years. Hasn't prevented him from winning a Cy Young over the last 2 years. Hasn't prevented them from making him their ace over the last 2 years. Starting the opening day, he's going to start for Team USA. All those types of things. All right. Then the other thing is the baseline. Okay. The baseline is $10 million from Skubal last year to 19 this year. That is it's a massive raise. Okay. And I'm sure Skubal's camp will come back and say, well, it doesn't matter how big the raise is. All you got to do is look at some of the other guys who've gone through it, who've had these massive raises going from one year to the next. Soto, 31 million. Shohei Ohtani, 30 million. Vladimir Guerrero, 28.5 million. In 2025, just this past year. Mookie Betts in 2020. Nolan Arenado in 2019. Arenado actually filed for 30 million. And the 2 sides agreed on 26 million, which was then at the time a record. So they could go back and you could look at something like that. It's not like he's breaking any precedent here. All right. I wonder more than anything else, the message, we just talked about this with Mitch Lyons, is the reason I asked for his opinion on something like this. I'd like to know how and what kind of message it sends to others around baseball. How are they viewed? You and I probably are using examples of Zach Wheeler, 42 million, Jacob deGrom, 37 million. And by the way, not very healthy. Blake Snell, 36.5 million. Garrett Cole, 36 million. All these guys. Highest paid pitchers in baseball. Corbin Burns didn't pitch at all last year, made $35 million. That's all ammunition for Skubal. I'd like to know how this affects players in the clubhouse, front office personnel in terms of, confidence, and let's face it, around baseball. If you're not going to take care of your own, and I don't think every player who has played for one specific team is automatically demanding and deservedly demanding of a raise. Especially one that, goes from, 10 million to $32 million. Then they still have time to negotiate. They could get together and say, hey, listen, let's do this. Let's do 25 million. Even then, does it not make the organization look small? Like, I understand why the organization, to a certain extent, I said $20 million. He's going to make at least 20 million is what I've said. I would have started at 25, understanding all the things that are going on. And apparently, if you don't know Scott Boras, and I don't know him personally, I've met him a couple of times. I've interacted with him a couple of times. He's very sure of himself. Might be a nice way of saying he's cocky. To a certain extent, arrogant. He knows what the hell he's doing. Just based on reports. And the Tigers know him intimately. Based on reports, damn well what this guy's all about. He wants headlines. He wants records. He wants records for his clients. Look what he did with Bregman over the weekend. I told you Bregman wasn't signing here. Oh, yeah. All the stuff you read. What did you read building up to it in the free agency? Oh, now the Tigers can get Bregman this year. They offered him 6 years, $175 million last year. They'll be back in it. You watch. He opts out. Where is he? Were the Tigers involved in that? No, they weren't. So now the Cubs have Dansby Swanson at short, Bregman at third. The reason I bring that up, they were 1 and 2 in their draft class. And the reason Bregman wore 2 is because Swanson was 1, and Bregman thought he should have been 1 out of LSU, Dansby Swanson out of Vanderbilt. I just, for me, you've got to adjust. And I want you to think about this. If you're going to use the comparison of Skubal and Price, which many people feel like the Tigers could use as an example, if you take inflation into account, $19.75 million, which Price made in 2015, is worth $26 million today. Roughly 10 years later, it's worth $26 million today. So if you're going to use that example, and that's an assumption on my part, that the Tigers use that as part of their example, that David Price set a record, $19.75 million. The same organization did this, Your Honor. Into account, you must take the inflation rate and say, wait a minute, 19 million back then is not 19 million today. I know that sounds crazy. You and I are both rolling our eyes thinking 19 million. You wouldn't take that today. I'm just talking about it from a baseball perspective and from a comparison perspective. I think you and I both ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that anybody can make that much money, but kudos to them that they do. You and I can't, for the most part. Then that's too bad, but these guys can. Bully for them. All right. I'd love to know, first of all, what this could mean for a potential trade. If arbitration hearings create bad blood. It does. There are certain players, when you get in front of it, Corbin Burns said as much. When he wanted X dollars, and the Orioles were out there saying, yeah, but he hasn't done this, and this, it left a really bad taste in his mouth. That may not be, just because it left a bad taste in Corbin Burns' mouth, doesn't mean that's going to happen with Tarek Skubal. But at some point, we all have pride. At some point, we all want to be wanted. And it's not that he isn't wanted as much as it is when you go before arbitration and you hear all those negative things, it stays with you. And it's going to stay with you and your representatives for the following season when they begin contract negotiations. If you're going to make it difficult, then the price may have just gone up ever so slightly, which is possible. And then the view around the league. Players notice, Mitch just said it, players notice this stuff. They are recognizing what other teams are paying and how serious they are. And then when you get to a team, if you got others involved here, Riley Green, they avoided arbitration because they settled on $5 million. The same thing with Spencer Torkelson and same thing with Zach McKinstry and others. All right. And that's great. But don't kid yourself. Those guys are all taking note of what's going on with Tarek Skubal's situation. They know how important he is to them and to their team and the possible success. How does that make them feel? I mean, at least at the start. I'm not saying it's going to carry out through the entire. They're not going to show up at spring training with their heads hung low and say, man, I can't believe they did, my buddy like this. And then carry that attitude all the way into September of next year. That's not going to be the case. But it does, at some point, you do have to recognize how an organization handles its employees, its people. I'm sure you feel the exact same way. Certain things your company does for you or doesn't do for you and or people who are associated with you leaves a bad taste in your mouth. I'm sure a lot of you have friends who've lost their job. Man, this guy, my brother-in-law worked 40 years for a company. And that company unceremoniously just dismissed him when he was getting ready to retire. You think I would support that company? Hell no. Another buddy of mine just lost his job the other day, even though he was their number one salesman. Why? Somebody felt threatened, even though he assured them, all I want to do is sell. They'd let him go after 30 years. You think I want to support that company? No. You are in probably a very similar situation with people who you know. The Tigers, no doubt, they are recognizing, going, you know what? I mean, how can they treat our most important asset? Seriously. Who's the most important player on the Tigers? Skubal? I would say yes. Even though I'm a big believer that you've got to have everyday players. I want my everyday players to be just that. Those are the guys who should be making that money. Those are the guys who should be setting the terms, leading the way. Because the Tigers don't really have anybody like that, this is the guy. You and I know that. Everybody in baseball knows that. That team knows that. And then you're going to sit there and put him through this? Seems a little odd to me. The timing of that. And then on top of that, these are reports, that they are in on a couple of pitchers, Chris Bassett, Dylan Cease. I prefer Cease personally. Innings eater. But they can't necessarily, and this is the report, they can't necessarily go after them if Skubal is going to win the arbitration case of $32 million. What's that message to your fan base? They have bungled this from day one. And it's really too bad because it had the golden opportunity to seize a moment. And they just don't know how to do it. Phone number on the Meyer hotline is 866-838-4843. Our text line is Sports Radio 21000. Darren McCarty joins us at the bottom of the 8 o'clock hour to talk about Sergei Fedorov, number 91, being retired tonight as Detroit gets ready to square off against the Carolina Hurricanes. This hour of X's and Bros brought to you by our friends at Meyer.
Hey guys, Mitch Lyons here from Mitch Lyons Wealth. In my NFL days, creating a solid game plan was crucial for a successful outcome on Sundays. In retirement, the formula to succeed is no different. A game plan to win retirement takes proper preparation and attention to detail, taking into account growth, protection, Social Security, healthcare, and securing lifetime income. Are you convinced your current plan can get you where you want to be? Or perhaps you don't really have a plan? That's okay. Make this year the year you take action. Put the pros at Mitch Lyons Wealth to work for you and let us help construct your retirement of steel. Get our free retirement toolkit that includes my book, Retirement of Steel, along with guides on taxes, Medicare, Social Security, and more. Text STEEL, STEEL, to 844-86-STEEL. That's STEEL to 844-867-8335. Again, STEEL to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com. Your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The Pistons unfortunately sold one on Saturday night, with the Clippers winning by 6 points at LCA after outscoring the Pistons by 14 in the fourth quarter in their home barn. Kawhi Leonard led all scorers with a casual 26 points, while the undermanned Pistons were led by Duncan Robinson's 20, as Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren watched from the bench. They've got their eyes on the prize, no doubt, as they're still 3.5 games above the Eastern Conference. All-star voting results keep coming in, but it looks like Cade is a shoo-in, and Duren is right on the fringe. We'll keep you posted. The Pistons are off until Thursday when they'll host the Phoenix Suns. My personal message to fans, a 28-10 record at this point is nothing to sneeze at. Let's not get carried away after a loss.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive boys and girls high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Save a good deal more during the Meyer Dollar Deal Sale, January 7th through the 20th. Shop the entire store and choose from hundreds of items, all $1 each. Fill your basket with favorites like Kraft macaroni and cheese, sparkling ice, sparkling water, select varieties of seedless cucumbers, and Meyer facial tissue. The Meyer Dollar Deal Sale. That's the good life, a good deal better. And don't forget to stop by the Meyer Pharmacy for your flu shot. Available today while you shop. Exclusions apply. See Meyer.com for details.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Okay, final hour of the program. Glad you're with us on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan. I'm Matt Shepard. Get some texts. The text line is Sports Radio 21,000. You can always call us on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Freddie's always busy on that text line. We always appreciate that very much. Brad Holmes needs to make a Trent Williams and or Christian McCaffrey type trade at a position they need, and will help them right away. That's a really interesting take. What would be the position of need? That's the question you have to ask yourself. What is the position, and how much are you willing to give in return for that position? We want, and I understand it, okay? He brings up Jeffrey Simmons, a defensive tackle from Tennessee. Be really good on the inside. Don't disagree with that. What would you be willing to give up a D tackle like that? Because you don't have a third this year, right? Right. So you get a first, you get a second. Are you willing to go that far? You really want to give up a first round pick when you need a tackle? I mean, I'm talking about an offensive tackle. The McCaffrey thing, you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about the skill positions. I don't know what the going rate is. That's the problem. Would I surrender a fourth round pick for an established run stopper, for an established pass rusher? Established pass rusher, absolutely. Run stuffer, depending on his contract and how long that contract is, what it's going to do to my cap. Yeah, they can be that big of a difference maker. The only thing I would remind you is of this. Roy Lopez he didn't make a ton of money this year, but he is a guy who probably outperformed his contract, but performed very well for you. Do you have to make a trade in order to accomplish the goal? The thing that Brad Holmes and the Lions might be teetering on, and I think Freddie's kind of hinting at this, might be teetering on, is that they get caught in a vacuum where it's all about drafting and developing instead of going and acquiring some really good players. There are going to be, the center is the position. Like Trent, if I said to you, give me the one position where Detroit is most vulnerable, what do they need more than anything else? Do you think you could come to a consensus on that? If you and your buddies are around talking, and I know you and your friends do this quite a bit with the Lions, what's the consensus on what this team needs more than anything else?
Yeah, well, based off the last season, it would be the offensive line for sure.
Okay. So
I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if you hone in on the guards or the tackles or, you want a new center because you just lost a Hall of Fame center. I don't know. But it's the O-line for sure.
So it for sure. It's not the edge rusher. Because before the season began, that's what it was about. We got to go out and we've got to get Trey Hendrickson. That's what people told. Like, would you go trade? Would you sign a Joey Bosa, who's in Buffalo right now?
Yes.
He's going to be a free agent. Okay. He made over $12.5 million. I think it's important that you we all, not just you, we all keep this in mind.
Yeah.
How much money are you willing to spend? Would you go sign an Arden Key, who could play, more than 40% of your snaps and deliver for you? He made $7 million last year. Or if that's the case, Trent, why don't you just sign AQM, Al-Qadim Muhammad? Why wouldn't you just do something like that?
Well, yeah, you and I have talked about that, how I don't want to say anomaly, but he had a career year at age 30. So it's kind of like, do you hesitate a little bit to bring him back?
Sure. I understand why there's a hesitation there, because I would do the same thing.
At least a question.
It's worth suggesting. I don't know how you can't. would you rather draft a tackle, or would you rather sign Braden Smith? Probably a bad example because he's a right tackle.
Yeah, but I got you.
Okay. I think you understand where I'm coming from.
Yes.
When it comes to that. Okay. So what is it? Like we think just somebody else's free agent is going to be better than what we have or what we can collect. And that's not always the case. Like I wouldn't want DJ Humphries, would you? From the Rams?
No.
Hell no.
But it's
right?
the reason, Shep, though, that people are clamoring for these things is because you just had an offseason where you're like, no, we're good. And you stuck with what you had. So people want other people's, lost goods.
I saw something on social media yesterday during the Chargers game. And, I kind of poked fun. Justin Herbert has 2 playoff touchdown passes in his career, the same as Juwan Jennings, the wide receiver for San Francisco. But Justin Herbert yesterday was playing behind 3 players. This is, again, Pro Football Focus. I know, grab the salt, put it on. I get it. I get all that. But the 2 tackles and 1 guard were among the worst. The 2 tackles were the worst and 3rd worst, according to Pro Football Focus, protection grades. One of the guards was 2nd worst. If that's the case, I don't know how much leeway you want to give to Justin Herbert. I don't know. But knowing that, and certain guys are out there, you have to be careful on whether or not you want someone, not that you would go out there and sign them, but that you would want someone from another team just thinking that a change of scenery or your scheme or your type of head or your line coach, Hank Fraley.
Yeah, your way of doing things,
would be able to, fix their issues. Okay. So if that's the case, and you signed a Rob Havenstein, guy from the Rams, 10 years in, right tackle, though. I mean, you're losing, not that it's official yet, but at some point, you're going to lose your left tackle. That's why you draft them. And I know some people feel like, well, you just move Penei Sewell over. And, well, he's been a 3-time first-team All-Pro at that position.
Yes. Do you really want to move him? You could out of necessity, but do you want to move him? He's been elite at that position.
You would think that he could make the transition, but I've never played tackle. I talked to guys who played guards. The difference between right guard and left guard is pretty steep. Just because they both have the position name in the description doesn't mean that the responsibilities are the same. That's all I'm saying. Okay. I do have some wild numbers associated with the NFL and the playoffs. I want to get to that when we come back, plus your texts and the final results from the poll question on Friday, the Daily Wager, and a whole lot more. Darren McCarty joins us, bottom of the 8 o'clock hour, to talk about Sergei Fedorov. We've got Hero and Heels coming back as well. So a lot to get to here on this Monday morning edition of X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
At Soaring Eagle, make it a hot Valentine's night. 5-time Grammy nominee El DeBarge and Keith Washington put love in the air. Tickets as low as $50. and are on sale now at the Soaring Eagle box office or etix.com. This Valentine's night, make it hot. El DeBarge and Keith Washington at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Farrah's Coffee has been family owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI's science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
Okay, 18 after the hour. A lot to get to before Darren McCarty, former Red Wing, joins us here on X's and Bros. Let's get to our Hero and Heels. Every Monday, 8:18, we give you Hero and Heels, the best and the worst of the weekend. For me, I mean, you could go with Matthew Stafford. You could go with Caleb Williams. You could go with Josh Allen. Maybe you could go with Brock Purdy to a certain extent. That's fine. But I'm going to go with Red Wings goalie John Gibson. Led the Wings to a third straight win Saturday with a 4-0 decision in Montreal. He has 3 shutouts since December 8th. He now leads. Big reason. He now has helped the Red Wings lead the division by a point over Tampa. In the first meeting with Montreal, it was opening night. Detroit lost 5-1. Gibson surrendered 5 goals on 13 shots. And then he pitches a 27 save shutout at Montreal over the weekend. He has won 12 of his last 14 games. John Gibson is my hero for the weekend.
Pretty damn good. Good one, Shep. There's no reason to get cute here. I'll stay with football, and I'll say the Patriots. So my daily wager on Friday was for both 7 seeds to win. It was more for fun than actual analysis, but wow, did the inexperienced, quote-unquote, Patriots and Mike Vrabel make the seasoned Chargers embarrass themselves. Just 3 points for LA. Justin Herbert under 200 yards passing. Patriots outgain them by, 150 plus yards. Pick your poison, whatever. The Patriots passed the test with flying colors. I think a lot of us truly were curious about how that would go over. But, they passed the test, Shep.
Yeah,
so.
Interesting. I mean, good for them. First win in, 7 years for the Patriots. All right, let's get to our heel. My heel is Jazz rookie Cody Williams. And you might be going, what? Cody Williams. He and his team were embarrassed by Charlotte 150-95 Saturday night. I know we don't pay much attention to Charlotte or the Jazz, and nor should we, but this one stood out to me. 150-95 they lose. He played 32 minutes and scored 15 points on 5 of 9 shooting, which you would look at originally and say, okay, he did what he possibly could do. Only so much you can do. It doesn't come close to telling the story. Williams, who was the 10th overall pick in this year's draft, was an NBA record minus 60. That's right. It's an NBA record minus 60 on the night. In the time that he was not on the floor, the Jazz were a minus 5. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
He was a minus 60. He's my heel of the weekend.
Good one. Really good one. Especially when you set a record like that. My goodness. I didn't write much down for this one, but again, no reason to get cute. The Green Bay Packers are my heel from the weekend. What the hell are you guys doing? I know that a 21-3 lead isn't game, set, match because it's the NFL playoffs, but come on. What's the issue? It's not the weather. It's not Caleb Williams' play through the first 3 quarters, right? It's not your injuries because those didn't seem to bother you until you want to use that as an excuse. So, whatever. The Green Bay Packers are my heel, Shep.
Yeah, that's a good one. It kind of leads into
it's pretty
some of
simple,
the
but
stunning numbers that I have for the NFL. I want you to think about this. The Packers, first team since the 1970 merger to lose 3 games when leading by 10 points or more in the final 5 minutes of the game, including the playoffs. Since the merger in 1970, one of 3 teams to do that. The Bears are the 4th team in NFL history to win a playoff game after trailing by 15 points or more entering the 4th quarter. Okay. Entering Saturday night's game, this goes back to the Packers. Teams were 3-158 all time in the postseason when trailing by 15 points or more going into the 4th quarter.
I saw that
one. The Bears were able to do that. Matt LaFleur blowing a 21-3 lead in the playoffs is somewhat comical considering he was on the sidelines for the Atlanta Falcons in the Super Bowl when they blew a 28-3 lead to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Okay.
And don't get me wrong here, Shep. This is one of those games, Bears-Packers in the first round of the playoffs. It's one of those things where it's like, would you rather be shot or stabbed? Like, I was watching that game.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't decide
I wasn't
either.
rooting for either team, but I found myself at the very end pulling for the Packers because I can't stand Ben Johnson. And
Same.
For the
Same.
For the Packers to just implode the way they did when, you know, in my lifetime, Shep, I've seen Aaron Rodgers run over to the fans and be like, I still own you. And, you know, for the Packers to have this aura about them in that rivalry, no longer.
Not anymore.
No
Not
longer.
anymore. Let me get to some more things because we're running out of time. We got D-Mac at the bottom. I want to tell you about some of these stunning NFL numbers, okay? In the 3 games between the Bears and the Packers, here's the offensive plays, okay? Offensive plays with the lead. The Packers had 106 plays run while having the lead in those 3 games.
Wow.
The Bears, 0.
Wait,
0.
hang on. The Bears never ran a play with the lead against the
took
Packers
the lead.
this season.
They ended up taking it, not offensively. No, they did not.
Wow.
And yet the Bears won 2 of the 3. That is crazy.
And
by the way,
wow.
hats off to Colston Loveland, the former Michigan tight end, first rookie tight end to have 8 rocks or more, 100 yards or more in a playoff game in NFL history. First rookie tight end to do that. That's pretty cool. This one about Josh Allen. First player in NFL history to complete at least 80% of his passes and rush for multiple touchdowns in a playoff game. I gave you his numbers in his last 7 playoff games. Absolutely crazy. Stunning on what he's been able to do. Okay. If you look at what the Patriots defense did. So you had mentioned Patriots is your heel or is your hero, right? And for good reason. Not because Patriots fit with hero, although it does. It's pretty good. They allowed no touchdowns, had a half dozen sacks, allowed under 100 yards rushing, and allowed under 150 net passing yards. The only team in the Super Bowl era to do that in a playoff game was the 1985 Chicago Bears. And they did it at the expense of the New York Giants. All right.
Yeah, to me, Shep, I'm not sure how you feel, but I had a lot of questions about the New England Patriots going into
I think it was their schedule.
Yeah,
I think most people would tell you it's
that
their
was the
schedule. They
biggest
had the
one.
easiest schedule of any team in football this year.
So it would be
And
reasonable to think they're fool's gold, you know?
Yeah,
so for them
I
to look
think
the way
so.
they did yesterday, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm bought in.
I was impressed too. You know, I never truly believed in the Chargers being a threat to win the AFC.
But to only put up 3 points.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
mean-
I think what happens is because Drake May is viewed as an MVP candidate, and rightfully so, we look at New England's offense when it's their defense that has been the biggest difference. All right. Last thing for you. All right. Most consecutive playoff games with a touchdown all time. Ready? Thurman Thomas is the all-time leader with 9. He's in the Hall of Fame. Emmitt Smith has 8. Hall of Fame. John Stallworth, 8. Hall of Fame. Christian McCaffrey, 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Consecutive playoff games with a touchdown. McCaffrey second all time. If he scores against Seattle, and let's face it, in all likelihood he will, then he would tie Thurman Thomas for the all-time record. When we come back,
man.
Yeah, he does.
I mean,
He's
people
a hell
can
of a
say
player.
what they want about him in the regular season and his health and everything. Playoffs, dude's
I
a
don't know,
bad
man.
MF.
He was healthy enough this year to lead his team in rushing and pass receiving. So there's something to be said for that for a team that won double-digit games and reached the playoffs. When we come back, Darren McCarty joins us. We'll talk about Sergei Fedorov, number 91, going to the rafters tonight. McCarty was at the dinner the other night, and he will be at the game tonight. We'll talk with D-Mac right after this on X's and Bros, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. And if you missed any of today's show, be sure to check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your podcasts to find the greatest hits from every day's show.
Soar to new heights of winning with Eagle Casino and Sports. Enjoy your favorite games wherever you are, whether at home or on the go. Dive into exciting slots, spin the roulette wheel, or challenge yourself with virtual table games, all at your fingertips. Sign up now and opt in to receive a deposit match up to $1,500 for the casino, plus up to 100 free spins. Download the Eagle Casino and Sports app today and experience winning with just a tap. Go you! Must be located in Michigan and 21 years or older. Other conditions apply. Visit playeagle.com to join the action. Gamblers problem call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Van Andel Institute Purple Community is a grassroots fundraising network powered by the dedicated volunteers who support VAI's mission to improve human health now and in the future. When you raise funds through the Van Andel Institute Purple Community, 100% of the proceeds go directly to the Institute's research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's, as well as VAI science education programs. Learn how you can get involved at purplecommunity.org.
All right, 35 after the hour. Welcome back on a Monday here throughout the great state of Michigan. We're brought to you on X's and Bros this hour by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Waiting on Darren McCarty, hoping to get him here shortly. Just so we're clear, when I was talking about Justin Herbert and the Chargers earlier, I was referring to the Pro Football Focus on Trey Pipkins and Mekhi Becton, both 38 and 39 out of the 40 tackles in Pro Football Focus rankings. We welcome in a big reason why the Red Wings were the team of at least my son's generation. Darren McCarty won 4 cups with the Detroit Red Wings. They were a machine. He's a big reason why they won 4 Stanley Cups. He's a friend of mine, does an outstanding job on Big D Energy on Woodward Sports with my friend Neil Rule every day, and he joins us here on X's and Bros. D-Mac, hope you had a great weekend, my friend. I know it was a special weekend because you were at the dinner with Neil for Sergei Fedorov the other night. How was it?
Yeah, I actually got a new phone or a new camera and figured out how to work that. So showed a little bit of insight. If you haven't seen it, check out Woodward Sports online, and you get a little taste of what it was like last night. But one word to describe it for me was awesome. Just for the band, we call it the band's back together, right? So all the boys are in town, and guys are coming. You know, Shanny comes in, and obviously Chelly's in there. Even Jeremy Roenick, who was a big rival with the Blackhawks and Phoenix back in the day, he was in paying his respects. So just to have the guys back together and to chop it up, and you know how the stories go. That's the big thing you miss. But and the big thing, just to see Sergei and how excited he is, and you know what, he as transparent as can be. He's a little nervous for tonight, so well deserved. We're all excited. I think it's something that these are the things that you get to put a bow on some stuff that's happened, you know, 30 plus years ago, and to all be a part of it. It's going to be a special night.
What's that like for you? I mean, personally, to get with some of the guys that you have some of your greatest, at least professional memories with. What's it like to get back with them?
Well, me personally, it's good because then I can't remember a lot of stuff, and guys, when you get different guys coming in, you know, from different areas and perspective, and I guess where you're at in life now, because you know most of us are, you know, in our 50s or older, so you know life has changed a little bit. A lot of us have grandkids now, and so the conversations, they change a little bit, and then they revert back to what it was 30 years ago. And for me, it just the memories of things that you can't remember until you get in a collective group, a collective mindset, and then you start, oh, remember this road trip, remember this, remember we did this, and you know, different games and stuff like this. And a lot of it too is when you get around, like we were talking about this with all the things that we do for the alumni, but even throughout the league as an NHL alumni with guys that you battled against. And then they bring the stories from their locker room and you put it all together. So really it's, you know, a whole lot of gratefulness, but a lot of, there's a lot of history, and you forget. I think life gets going and you forget a lot of the stuff that you've been involved in. So it's just trying to, I guess, enjoy and take in these 2 days, and you know, at the end of it, try to come out with as many memories as possible.
Well, Darren McCarty gave us a ton of memories. 15 special seasons in the National Hockey League, 13 with the Red Wings, 4 Stanley Cups, joining us here on X's and Bros. Your first year, I believe, was Sergei Fedorov's Hart season, where he had 120.
Hart and Selke. Remember, Hart and Selke, because the only player ever to do both, which is the most gentlemanly player and the most valuable player, the only guy ever to do that in the NHL. So, yes, that was my first year. That was my initiation to, hey, check out Sergei Fedorov and his white skates, and look at how awesome he is.
Yeah, the Selke, best defensive forward, and he won it twice. So that tells you something. What was it like? You know, I'm sure you get this all the time, but people have to answer it playing with you too because of your prowess on the ice. What was it like playing with him as you watched him glide and do so many things so well?
Well, I think that was the thing. Somebody asked me last night, what was your first impression? Do you remember when you first got on the ice with Sergei Fedorov? And I sure it was like summer skate, before first training camp and stuff like that. And the one thing that, and this is like where the two greatest players that you like talent wise that I've played with are probably Sergei Fedorov and Pavel Datsyuk, but two different sports cars, or two different. Pavel's the all-purpose, Hummer, Land Rover, one of those flashy things that can do it all. And Sergei's just that Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever you want to call it, and you know it from day one. He doesn't need the white skates to look fast. That just made him look faster. But the one thing that I would describe Sergei Fedorov, which you realize is that it looks effortless. And I think a lot of times that's where, he would get criticism is he trying out there? Oh, he's trying. It just comes a lot easier to him than anybody else. So that's not been the case on the ice, whether he's playing forward, whether he's playing defense, whether it's a game or practice. Certain guys in certain leagues just elevate off the page, and he's definitely was one of them from start to finish of his hockey career.
D-Mac, so many people talk about Sergei Fedorov, not just the scoring, but they talk about the defensive side of things. Can you put in perspective how challenging that is at the highest level of your craft to play as well as he did defensively like he did offensively?
Not really, because I can't skate backwards. So, that's the wrong one to ask.
True.
No, in seriousness, like when Scotty Bowman says, and here's the one thing that tells you how good a guy is, right? When you got a team, and pretty much an all-star team or something, you got to find him ice time. So you're going to say, hey, Sergei, which is one of the other people might think, because they see guys go play defense on a power play or play in the back, that a lot of talented guys can play defense. No, you got to have that mentality and be able to have that hockey sense and skating ability. And all you have to know is that if Sergei Fedorov, and this comes from Scotty Bowman, if Sergei Fedorov, played consistently seasons on defense, he would have won a Norris. What's that tell you? Right? And that's only coming from Scotty Bowman and the rest of us. So I think that the seamless transition forward to defense goes to show you the greatness of that player. Because as many talented guys that have played in the NHL, there's only a handful that could have done it.
What made your team so great? You win 4 Cups. Fedorov was part of 3 of them. What do you think made it the greatest this town's ever had? And I would argue that in any sport, your 4 Cup teams were the greatest of any sport in Detroit sports history, and some of the greatest teams ever assembled in National Hockey League history. What made them so great, do you think?
I think that what made the teams great was not only, first you have to look at the pedigree of the talent. So the talent is there, but our talented guys, and it starts from either our eldest and the veterans from a Fetisov to a Larionov, right through the Yzermans, Fedorovs, Shanahans, Lidstroms, all our all-stars, all our Hall of Famers, all our top guys were our hardest working guys. So it was easy for us younger guys too. And that's when we talk about culture, is just the fact of how it's done. I mean, you hear about it all the time when you listen to guys like yourself that reported on the team or are around. You try to interview a guy after a game. I was usually a straggler into that weight room. But guys were all in there. There wasn't like 5 guys in there. There's 20 guys in there, because that's what the leadership did. Steve Yzerman led the way, Sergei Fedorov. I think like the work that was done off the ice, everybody just thinks because when there's talent, it comes naturally. No, these guys worked at it. You mentioned, a guy like Dominic Hasek, like Chris Osgood, like stuff like this. Whatever needed to be done, guys are willing to do, because at the end of the day, there was only one finish line for us, and that was winning cups. And, fortunately 4 times we succeeded, but like you said, I played 15 years, and that means there's a lot of more defeat than there is success. So just the bottom line, it has always been, it's just the leadership from above and getting that in. So that goes down, back to Scotty and stuff like this, but it's just doing it every day, in and out, no matter what. And, it always helps when you got the top talent too. So when talent and work ethic collide, that's when success happens.
Fedorov said that the one regret he had was leaving Detroit. How much do you think that stung you and others who were playing with him?
No, I think that was the biggest. Like, if you want to, I'll be the one that breaks it down. Is that if we want to see why did it take so long for him to retire his jersey? Because I think that, and it's 20 some years ago, whatever played into it, is that there was some healing that needed to go on, on every side. But at the end of the day, he's one of the kids. He's one of Mr. I's sons. I think probably, if you ask Mr. Illich, it's probably his favorite player. And if you know Sergey, and this is it, like, he's one of his favorite persons. So I think that a lot of times, in especially when we talk about like how family it is, and you hear that word, where we're an extended part of that Illich family and stuff, and we were treated that way. No more so than people that were around when Mr. Illich was around. So I think there had something to do with that. I'm just glad that, like, time can heal whatever. And that was one even last night, Shep, is that as everybody's there and we're having a dinner and, people are talking or whatever, but you see Sergey sitting beside Mrs. I and they're chopping it up all night, and there's love there. And it's just, so look at it like a bigger part of your extended family. Sometimes, you're not always going to see eye to eye, but at the end of the day, what you accomplish, the love and everything, that it comes to culmination for tonight. So the biggest part, as we always say, is we're all so excited because Sergey is so excited. Yeah. And he's nervous, and it's everything that we remind you of Sergey Fedorov before a big game or whatever like that, because he's going to deliver. Here's a little side note. Like, Sergey is one of those guys that he gets a bad rap, and it's not. And I'll relate it like this: he's not the guy, right? Like, he's the guy to look around and not realize who he is, to say, oh my gosh, Steve Eisman and Nick Lidstrom and Igor, these guys are so good, they don't need me. And we're over here going, yo, Sergey, little help here, bud? And he'd be like, oh, guys, you need my help? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, here we go. Like, one of those, like, doesn't realize to himself, and it's genuine of how great he really is.
Yeah,
right.
Humble.
So that's
you guys are all. You guys are all humble, though. I mean, that's the thing that I enjoyed most about covering your team. I appreciate the time. Just two quick more. Datsuk and Zetterberg, do you think their numbers eventually get retired, and should they?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Let's down the road we can answer that question. Then the next one that everybody's got to focus on is Osgood into the Hall of Fame.
Well,
400 wins, 3 cups, backstop 2. That's like, let's focus on that one.
100%.
Get him, and then we'll have the Hockey Town logo, Sergey and the Rafters, and Ozzy in the Hall of Fame. Then we can win another Stanley Cup, because the Hockey Town, the golf or the golf gods, the hockey gods are all lined up. So, yes, definitely a question for down the road. But tonight we'll enjoy Sergey's.
Okay, well, you open the door. Why is that? I've said this for years, that Osgood should be in there. I don't think he was appreciated by us in Detroit enough. You, yes.
Well, then there's the start, Shep. Get on your horse. Get on and start. And don't start waving that flag. I don't know. It's just the way that it is, and everybody's got an excuse about this or that. Yeah, but look at who's in, and like 400 wins, regardless of a cup, should get you in. Letty's got 3 cups and backstop 2 of them. It's that is the first thing people come up. Well, look at the team he played behind. What are you talking about? Chris Osgood was the our generation's Grand Pure of just stop one more than they get. And when it comes down to it, I say it all along. Like, if I had to live or die, one hockey game who's my goaltender? Everybody thinks it's Hasek or whatever. No, it's Ozzy. And because win or lose, we're going down together. And that's the guy I go to war with, and just the competitiveness. So, it's the same thing as like they don't want to induct a kid that looks like he's 12 years old. Now he looks like he's 16 because he's an adult.
I agree.
So, I don't know,
100%.
Steph. Yeah. I don't have all the answers.
No, but you're a good source for it. Last one for you. What do you think of this year's team? I think they're exciting. They're fun to watch. I love what Van Riemsdyk has brought to this, and John Gibson has really steadied the ship, winning 12 of his last 14. What's your overall impression?
Well, I mean, it's, now we're getting into it. It's there's nowhere to breathe, right? I mean, it's like you're swimming across the Atlantic, and like you just got to keep going. The season's along. So like what they've done, because what they're doing is they're playing the game the proper way. You mentioned excitement. That's the first thing that has to come. You got to want to get down and watch this team, whether they're on TV or get down live. And that is what they're doing. They're playing hard every night. They're playing for each other. And I think what you see, which is I'm grateful for, is now instead of hearing about the guys that are going to save you, you get to see the guys that are going to save you. Now, that doesn't mean cup this year, but it means we're moving in the right direction. And the fact that they're this far into the season and they're still at the top of the Eastern Conference, you can't go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak, or else you'll be back at the bottom. But like anything else, their Achilles heel is the last 2 weeks of February, first week of March, or the last few years they've won 2 games. So they got to get through there. But other than that, this is a different team. They got great leadership and guys that are stepping up. The biggest thing is they can skate with everybody. You got to have speed in this league, and they got it on all aspects. So they play for each other instead of trying to do each other's jobs. We'll have a playoff team here. So my fingers are crossed.
D-Mac, you're always gracious with your time. You do a great job on Big D Energy on Woodward Sports. Enjoy tonight. You've earned it. Thanks for your time, my friend.
Appreciate it as always, Shep. We'll see you in there. And hi to everybody all throughout the state.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks, buddy. That's Darren McCarty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion.
Awesome interview,
veteran
Shep.
in the NHL.
Nice work.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Thank you. He's a good friend, and appreciate it, because I know there's a lot of people tugging at his time. Do we have time, Trent, to get to the final results of the poll question?
Yeah, we sure do. We got a couple minutes here. Yeah.
Okay,
so yesterday we asked you, what did we ask you? I'm pulling this up
on Friday we asked you who would you want to be the Lions OC?
Yes,
Mike
that's
McDaniel,
right.
Brian Dable, Cliff Kingsbury, or other.
Okay, so 82% of the voters who voted, and thank you for voting. You can vote XB Mornings on X. 82% said Mike McDaniel. 7% said Cliff Kingsbury, 6% said other, 5% Brian Daboll. But the consensus is if Mike McDaniel is willing to be the Lions OC and he doesn't get a head coaching gig,
come on down.
Lions fans want him.
All right. Today, our Mitch Lions Well poll question, which Lions or which NFL head coaching job is the best, rather? The Giants, the Falcons, the Ravens, or the Dolphins. Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. The results come your way tomorrow. All right. How did your daily wager do over the weekend?
Not good. We had a winning week, but I had some fun on Friday, a little self-indulgence. I did both 7 seeds to win. Neither one did win, but 2 relatively good games. Packers-Bears obviously a lot closer than Steelers-Chargers was. But tonight, I will simply take the Texans to win, beat the Steelers. Okay. It's the final game of round 1. Do you agree with me, Shep? I think the Texans win tonight.
I do too. C.J. Stroud struggles in cold weather games, and it's supposed to be cold tonight. So if we're going to use that for Jared Goff,
to watch. Yeah.
We're going to use it for Matthew Stafford. Why wouldn't we use it for C.J. Stroud? His team does have the best defense in the NFL, and they have 2, probably the best defensive and pass rushing combinations in the NFL as well, save for the Green Bay Packers and Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. But either way, we'll monitor it tonight and let you know about tomorrow. Our thanks to everybody, including Mitch Lyons and Darren McCarty, Trent Bally, and all of you for giving us an opportunity on this Monday. We're back with you tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock on X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan.